安排. To all my colleagues and friends, today is actually the fourth day on the Lunar New Year. And the culture in the Chinese culture is a day to receive God of Fortune for everybody. So this is actually very, very timely for us to have this greeting. Just very, very quickly, I'm going to introduce today's agenda. So as soon as I'm done, I'm going to pass the mic to Honorable Mary Ng and my Chinese MP colleagues. And afterwards, I will introduce my caucus colleague one by one and allow them to say a greeting and say a quick hello to the media friends. And after that, please stay on because we're gonna take a group shot. Screenshot for later release. And to my media friends, I'm going to introduce you as well one by one. You get a chance to wave or say hello quickly to the Liberal caucus. And then we will, in the news release, I'll send out a list of today's caucus participants' name and their contact information. As the chair of the Chinese Liberal Chinese caucus, I really want more connection between the Chinese community led by the Chinese media workers, and because you all work very hard to pass on the government programs, information on our measures against COVID-19. So you've done an excellent job in the 2 years. I want to see more interaction between the Liberal members as well Chinese media friends. So we will be doing this routinely, periodically. Hopefully next time we'll be in person. So with that, I want to turn the floor to my good colleague and good friend, the Honorable Mary Ng.
Well, thank you so much, Han. It's terrific to be here with you virtually, as well as my caucus colleagues, as well as most importantly, our media friends who are here with all of us today. It's wonderful to see all of you, many familiar faces and some new ones. 大家好，新年快樂，新年快樂. Let's just get that off to a wonderful, wonderful start. And maybe I'll just sort of, kick it off and just say a few short words because I know my colleagues will want to say their greetings to you as well. But certainly as we are starting this wonderful Year of the Tiger, I want to recognize the incredible resilience and the leadership that Canadians, and in particular Asian Canadians, have demonstrated over this past year. I'm thrilled that I get a chance to spend this time to talk to the Chinese media about the work that our government is doing. And I know I'll be sharing that with my colleagues who are with us today. And certainly through this pandemic, we've seen all of you in the Chinese Canadian media, in the Asian media, and really relied on you to provide the COVID updates and the breaking news, and just to be able to connect with the community across the country through you. So with all of that, I echo what Han has said, which is an enormous appreciation and thank you for all of your hard work. And our government, of course, was elected with a mandate to support Canadians and Canadian businesses throughout this pandemic, and to make sure that everyone has access to safe and to effective vaccines, to make sure that we have a strong and a sustainable and equitable recovery that will create jobs and generates growth in our country here and for years to come. And from the very beginning, our government has had the backs of Canadians. Just yesterday marks 100 days since we were elected. And in that short time, we have delivered results to support Canadians, to support small businesses through this pandemic, to make child care and housing more affordable, and to advance reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. And in this 100 days, in my own role, we've been able to create opportunities for Canadians through advancing free trade agreements, those where we are pursuing them with a greater footprint in the Asia Pacific, supporting women entrepreneurs by expanding the Women's Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Fund, announcing further relief for small businesses that will just support them, as we have seen all of them continue to be so resilient during Omicron. We know that there's more to do. We're going to stay focused on that. And this week, my colleagues and I have been able to be in Parliament in Ottawa, some of us working virtually, others of us there, but essentially focused on delivering on results for Canadians, and to make sure that we continue to stay strong, to stay resilient, to stay inclusive. I think all of these words are very, very exemplifying of what was the year of the ox, that exemplified the hard work and the strength of our communities. But as we stride into the year of the tiger, let's embrace the tiger spirit of optimism and of courage and of resilience. And we will all continue to work together to build a better Canada for everyone. So with that, back over to you, Han, and to the rest of our wonderful colleagues here.
Thank you very much, Minister Ying. Indeed, we have done a lot, and we plan to do more. We'll have more opportunities in the Q&As for the media friends if you have any questions. Next up, my good friend, the member for Scarborough Agincourt, Ms. Jean Yip.
Good afternoon, everyone, and also to my colleagues. It's wonderful to see all of you. 新年快乐, 新年快乐,万事如意. Am I still on? No, I'm not on mute, right?
No, you're good. You're good, Jane. I think, Josh, you need to mute yourself.
Okay, all right. So I think I can say a little bit more than that in Cantonese. 恭喜發財, 身體健康. So I'm so delighted to see all of you virtually, because it has been some time. I believe the last time we had a media availability was probably at some post-election event. So it's great to be able to gather today and to answer your questions as we start the new year. And as Minister Ng has said, it is important that we go forward with courage and resilience. And I think we need the tiger as the guardian of evil spirits to keep the pandemic in check and to ensure that our economy moves forward. So thank you for participating today.
Thank you, Jane. And Sean, you're up next.
Thank you, Han, and hello, everyone. Happy Lunar New Year. 新年快乐, 恭喜發財. Very excited to see everybody in the room today and to be joined by so many colleagues. We are, of course, welcoming the Year of the Tiger, and I know the tiger brings us strength and courage. These are virtues that are going to help us through these next few months, because we all know we've been through very difficult times over the past couple years due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So I am very hopeful, and I know that our government has done a lot to support Canadians, and there's more work for all of us to do together to make a positive difference and to get Canadians through this. So I want to say, first of all, thank you to the media friends for joining us today. Our Chinese community has been through a lot, and that has included the rise of anti-Asian hate. And even recently we're hearing incidents, but now's the time to turn the page. And we have contributed, as have all Canadians, to fighting the pandemic on the front lines through our communities, and we have a lot to celebrate. Let the tiger bring out all that goodness and positivity for the year ahead. So thank you so much, and I look forward to today's conversation. 谢谢大家，多谢大家。
Thank you, Sean. Well, I'm up next, and 我就不多说了，在这里再给大家拜年了，拜个晚年祝大家虎年吉祥，如虎添翼虎虎生风，也祝大家阖家幸福，身体安康。好，之后呢，我们有2位新的议员，国会议员，我们有 Wilson Mel 和 Paul 我们的蒋警官那先把话筒交给 Wilson。
Thank you, Han, for the wonderful introduction. And thank you everyone for joining us today, all the media friends. 大家好，新年快樂，恭喜發財。As you may all know, this year is the year of the water tiger, and the tiger represents strength and bravery. And I hope we can all take these qualities of the tiger to build a brighter and more resilient future for all good fortune to all of you. And I'm so happy to be here today to recognize the Asian community. And I want to point out that I'm wearing this, I'm going to stand up here, this Vancouver Canucks jersey that showcase our Chinese heritage. It was designed by our local artist, Trevor Lai, that featured the Canucks logo with a tiger leaping out of the water. It is a beautiful testament of our culture and a great way to support a wonderful local artist. This jersey not only celebrates the Lunar New Year, but also bring awareness to the increased anti-Asian racism that happened in the beginning of the pandemic, and also promoting and supporting our community, a nonprofit called the Eliminate Hate, which also have been advocating for racial equality and inclusivity for Asian Canadian. So let us remind each other and work together to create this better world for all Asian Canadian, and one with not with hatred, but kindness and compassion. So thank you very much for joining us today, and for me to 祝大家 and your family 虎來財到，虎獻吉祥，虎福臨門，虎有平安。多謝 ，Thank you.
Wow, 太好了. As you can see, Wilson is a wonderful addition to the Liberal caucus. So to those media friends from BC or all West, if you have future interview opportunities, feel free to, I will be very happy to share that responsibility with Wilson, and feel free to reach out to Wilson. And next up, another great addition to our Liberal family, former constable and well-known in the Markham area, MP and parliamentary secretary, Paul Chan. Paul, is Paul online? Not yet? Okay, well, that's okay. We'll save the slot for Paul to say a few words later. We have a wonderful participation from the Liberal caucus. Many of those, like Rob, like Helena, that you are very familiar with. But we have some new additions as well. So today is a great opportunity for them to reconnect and say hello. So first up, we have the Honorable Helena Hajek, my former provincial colleague, now and seamate, now is a minister of the federal government, and she represents Markham Stouffville. Helena, over to you. Oh, we might have some tech difficulties. Why don't we go to my other Liberal colleague, Minister Karina Good, representing Burlington. Karina? Not yet? Okay. Next one I see on the screen. So my good friend and neighbor, Mr. Rob Oliphant, also the Parliamentary Secretary for Foreign Affairs. Go ahead, Rob.
Thank you very much, Shay. It is wonderful to be here. And I will just say one thing. I'm one of the older, in many ways, members of this caucus. I've been around a while. What I have seen is the growth in our Chinese Canadian caucus, and a growth in so many ways, in depth, in breadth, in understanding, in contribution to making our country better. So I just wanted to give that little shout out. We can shout out to the communities we represent. That's great. I want to just give a little shout out to my colleagues who raise the issues that are important to all of you every day and do it so well. But they're not alone. The non-Chinese caucus members do it as well. But today, as we enter this wonderful new year on the 4th day, I wanted to congratulate and salute them. So thank you, Han, and your whole team that are assembled today.
That's awesome. Thank you, Rob, for the shout out. Next up, we have Minister Joyce Murray representing Vancouver Quadra. Joyce? Oh, not yet. Okay.
You've gone on mute.
Han, you mute yourself.
I am sorry. So let me reintroduce Joyce Murray, member for Vancouver Quadra. Is Joyce here? No? Okay. Talib Noor Mohammed from Vancouver, Granville. Talib? No yet? That's okay. We'll come back and when they join us. We have Patrick Weiler, and this is probably the longest name of writing that we have in the parliament. West Vancouver, Sunshine Coast, Sea to Sky Country. Patrick, is Patrick here? Not yet. Okay. As you can see, we members of parliament are very busy. 大家的国会议员呢有很多不同的 committee 啊，还有他们今天呢有一些有 house duty 啊，有一些是这样回到他们的选区，所以可能他们上网是稍微会迟一点，我会介绍他们。Is Joanne Thompson representing St. John's East？ 这是我们应该很远的一个朋友啊，是纽芬兰 Labrador 的。Is Joanne here? Not yet. Okay.
Han, I noticed Paul is online. Maybe you'd like to introduce him.
Oh, that's great. Is Paul here? Excellent. Paul, our newest addition to the Chinese Liberal MP family. Are you here?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead.
I just landed at Toronto. I'm at the airport right now, and I'm speaking to you from the airport. So thank you so much, Han, for organizing this. Hello, everyone. It's so good to see many of our friends virtually for the occasion of Chinese New Year. The past year has been a special one to many. For sure, it was a particularly good one for myself in the past year as I retired from the police department. And I was lucky enough to be elected as your member of parliament for Markham Unionville. I wish to continue my public service as your member of parliament. And I hope to serve you all effectively. On this special Chinese New Year, I would like to thank the local Chinese media for your continued dedication in serving the community, even under COVID-19 pandemic, which has made your situation very difficult and even more challenging. People in ethnic media continue to work hard on your commitment to serve our ethnic community. 我想多谢我们的媒体朋友们，谢谢你们很能干做的事，希望我们可以合作，可以把这个恨仇的希望可以我们解决，谢谢大家。
Thanks so much, Paul. We have Leah Taylor-Roy from, let me get this right, Aurora Oak Ridge, Richmond Hill. Over to you, Leah.
Thank you so much, Han. And I must say it's an honor to be here with you and all of my Canadian Chinese colleagues. I am envious that of your multilingualism, but I'm also very envious, Wilson, of your jersey. I'd like to get one of those. I don't think the Maple Leafs have anything nearly as nice as that. So I too am at the airport, unfortunately, so you may hear some noise in the background, but I did want to take a moment to to wish everyone, first of all, a happy Lunar New Year. A wonderful time to celebrate. And it's really wonderful to be here with the gathered Chinese media. I met many of you through the campaign and I'm very grateful for the great service that you provide to our community. We're all working hard in Ottawa and a number of the issues have been brought up. I won't take a lot of your time. Just to say, I am very excited too that we are entering the Year of the Tiger. It is good timing. And we will all persevere with courage. So thank you again for organizing this, Han, and thank you to all my media friends. Take care. You're still muted, Han.
I am sorry about that, Leah. Leah's Chinese name is 利亚泰勒。我们在选举的时候呢，也很熟悉啊这个名字。Next up, we have, I think, Talib Noor Mohammed from Vancouver, Granville. Just join us.
Yes, I'm here, Han. Thank you so much for organizing this.
Okay, over to you.
恭喜發財，身體健康。I'm very happy to be with everybody today. Wishing everybody good health and prosperity in the new year, the Year of the Tiger. I think it's a year that hopefully will bring us all energy and good fortune. I have a wonderful riding, as many of you know, Vancouver Granville, which has a very large Chinese community that's very diverse in and of itself from all parts of, all different parts of China, and speaks different languages, and is a big part of our community and is growing. And so I'm really grateful to have this opportunity to meet with all of you and to see all of you. And I look forward to supporting whatever work you'd like to do in our riding. We have lots of work to do around anti-Asian hate, but I think we also have a lot of opportunity around showcasing the incredible contributions that the Chinese community is making, in particular in my riding, and just what a wonderful, what a wonderful addition it has been to an incredibly diverse and really the center of the heart of Vancouver. So thank you very much for organizing this, Han, and for creating this opportunity.
Thank you, Talib. It's great to have you here, and Happy New Year to you as well. I saw Ruby on the chat group. Ruby Sahoda from Brampton North. Ruby, are you still here?
Yes, I am, Han.
Excellent. Over to you.
Thank you for organizing this, and thanks to all my colleagues, especially my Asian Canadian colleagues that have been doing such a wonderful job in outreach and connecting with the community and helping members like myself also build on that relationship, because that is what Canada is all about. And so I'm really happy to be here to meet the media. I know that ethnic media has had a lot of challenges during this pandemic. I also know there's been some opportunities to media in some grants and other things that weren't there before. So I'm really happy to hear from media outlets to make sure that we have a vibrant community of different media groups within our democratic country. It's so important for us to be able to communicate through you to our constituents from throughout this country. So thank you so much for communicating so much of that, the things that were important during the pandemic, getting the right information to people. We really owe you a debt of gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruby. I just want to point out to my media friends, 我们有一个 chat group 在旁边哈，大家可以看到各位国会议员他们的名字和他们所代表的选区。我们也看到前面那个新的 Talib Nur Mohammed， 他的中文名叫乐泰利啊，很有意思。Next up, we have Majid on the screen as well. He's been patiently waiting. Majid, over to you. 麻烦你。
Thank you. Thank you, Don. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Coming to you, as I'm sure you can see, on my way to the airport. But let me start by saying Happy Lunar New Year. Gong He Fa Choi, Sin Ling Kwai Lo, Gong Si Fa Chai. My Chinese name is Ma Wan Li, and I'm quite proud of it. I want to wish everyone a happy lunar year of the water tiger. Last year was Year of Ox, which basically symbolizes resilience, but this year we are going to use the spirit of tiger to continue fighting the pandemic and beat it this time. Just want to acknowledge the amazing work that the Chinese Canadian has done over the last year and a half or last 2 years fighting the pandemic, taking lead in helping the community by making sure there are a lot of PPEs out there, but also educating the community and making sure that they're there to support on many fronts. In my riding, we're so blessed to have the support of the Chinese community with the distribution of the PPEs. And this year, we're going to even work closer. And I also like to thank you for the engagement, the civic engagement that you did in the last election. The rate of the participation and the support that we've received from the community, as well as the media, I will never forget, and I want to thank you for that. I'll make it short because I know there are so many others that they want to extend their best wishes, but thank you to the Chinese Canadian community. You've been there for us for hundreds of years and continue to be there for us. Thank you for media. Take care.
Thank you, Majid. And to my colleagues, don't leave yet. We'll be quickly wrapping this up and we can take a screenshot for later use. And we have two more I see on the screen. One is my good friend, Ryan Turbo from Whitby. Ryan, over.
Thank you so much, Han, for organizing this, and good to see all my colleagues and our friends from the media. It's a real pleasure to be with you all today. I want to say Happy Lunar New Year. to everyone. And I'm, you know, I really want to share my appreciation for the Asian community in my riding of Whitby, but also for all Asian Canadians that are across Canada that make huge contributions to our community and country. It's no doubt that that your industriousness and your culture is making a more vibrant Canada. And and as we celebrate the Year of the Tiger, I look forward to deepening the ties with the community and wish you all good fortune and health, strength, and bravery throughout the year. Kong Hei Fat Choi.
That's excellent, Ryan. And to 我们那个媒体朋友们，这个 Ryan Turbo 呢是和我年纪差不多，比我小一点点。其实他是在 Social Enterprise 这里呢是一个 expert 啊，大家如果有什么事情关于那方面要采访的话，都可以找他。We also have a strong advocate all the way from Nova Scotia, Lena Maglique Diab. Did I pronounce this right?
Yeah, no, you
I'm
did
sorry.
well. Thanks so much. Thanks
all the way
so
from
much.
Halifax West. Go ahead.
So I am a newer member of the of Parliament since September, and I'm really grateful to be working with Han and the rest of my colleagues in Canada to advance our mutual aims and goals. I represent Halifax West in Nova Scotia, so I think I may be the only one from Atlantic Canada here on the call as an MP, but I can tell you I have served 8 years in provincial government here in Nova Scotia and as an immigration minister for 8 years in a number of portfolios. Very rich and vibrant Chinese community in my area, and in my constituency and in my province, to the point where I have attended Chinese Year celebrations for so many years in a row by so many different organizations here. This year, just like last year, unfortunately, we have missed attending them in person. And my hope is that, well, we can do that again. I mean, this is one thing that I've received from the community at one point that is actually just here in my home. But I have so many rich, treasures that I've received from so many friends here in the community. And for the media that is on the call, I don't know if there's any from Atlantic Canada, but I can tell you there are some where I am, and I do encourage you to connect, and I'm happy to be a link here in Atlantic Canada. So in this year of the Tiger, I wish everybody peace, prosperity, and good fortune to all of us, and Xin Yan Quan Lo to everybody. Thank you, Han.
Lena, that was excellent. And please don't put down that scroll, because now we're going to take a picture. So for all my Liberal colleagues, please turn on your camera. 大家媒体朋友们，如果你愿意的话，可以把你们的镜头打开啊。我们现在 take a group shot， 然后可以用在发布之后我们 news release 用啊。我有一个小老虎在这边。
I'm not sure how much you can see, but here we go.
I can see it. Yeah, hold up whatever you have. On 1, 2, 3, we're all gonna say Happy New Year. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Got it? Okay, I got the nod. Thank you so much. And of course, we have more friends from the Liberal family supporting the Chinese community and has signed up and would love to be here. I mentioned earlier on, Karina Good, Karina Hazik, we have Joyce Murray all the way from Vancouver, Patrick Weiler, also a BC MP, Chandra Aria from Ottawa, from Nepean, Michael Cotto, a good friend from Toronto, Don Valley, representing Don Valley East. We also have Sonia Sidhu from Brampton. I think the very first female Filipino MP, Rachel Valdez, from representing Mississauga Streetsville. She's also signed up to support us. And last but not least, Joanne Thompson as well, from Newfoundland, Labrador. will be joining us. They are just in transition as it's Friday, as you can understand. Members are traveling back to their home riding from Ottawa. 好，之后现在呢，我们听到了我们自由党团队的各个议员给大家的祝福。接下来呢，我将会一位一位的介绍我们的媒体朋友们。请大家到时候呢打开你的镜头，很快呢和我们的议员道贺一下新年，介绍一下自己，好吗？第一个我们是有 51.ca 51的代表。你只要把麦克打开，你直接说话就可以了。好，那我就下一位是今日加拿大啊，那我之前也是有一个很好的朋友董黎明先生。今日加拿大。
Happy New Year for all of you, and I come from Canada Today Media, and we run before, we was also hand-on together. We make the magazine before, This now we run all the media to the electronic media. Now we run on the website and CanadaToday.ca. Also, we run on some social media. That's all.
That's great. Thank you, Mr. Dong. And we're not related, just so you know. But we are related from the previous my previous career. Canadian Voice 加拿大之声汉家风 Linda.
Here it's me. Yeah, thank you. Hi. Thank you to organize the event. I'm Linda from Canadian Voice, and say hello to every people here. I have we are a company based on BC Richmond. We have a question about affordable housing for Windsor Mill. Yeah,
excellent, Linda. We'll do the Q&A, question and answer, after the introduction of the media friends, and then you have plenty of time to ask questions. Thank you. Next up, we have CC Info Media, Jim Jia. Is Jim here? No, not yet. Okay. We also have CC Media News, Mr. Jing Hong. You want to say a quick hello, Mr. Jing? No, I don't see Jing Hong here. Chinese New Star Media, Jessica. Okay, why don't I just go by the screen that I see in front of me? Maybe that's easier. Sorry about that. And in that case, I may miss somebody, and I apologize. Todd from Fairchild TV, Vancouver. Todd, over to you.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Hong, and thank you for Minister and all the colleagues' invitation and organizers this event. And happy Chinese New Year, happy the Lunar Tiger Year, and 恭喜发财，万事如意，祝大家新年快乐啊，虎年吉祥啊，虎虎生威。
Thank you.
Okay.
Next up, we have Susan Qi from FM 105.9, 105.9. Go ahead, Ms. Qi.
Hi, thank you for organizing this event, and Happy New Year to you and everyone who celebrates. I'm Susan from FM 105.9, and I hope that in the future we have more coordination. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Susan. I know you and Gran, you guys do a great job. I know that recently you just interviewed Minister Sean Fraser with regard to immigration policies, and you can see my Liberal colleagues here represent different riding, different coast, different ministry. Feel free to reach out to them to do interviews as well. Next up, we have Red Maple Betty Gu. Betty, you're muted.
Hello, everyone. My name is Betty Gu. I'm an owner of the Red Maple. So, Happy New Year. 恭喜发财。新年快乐。
Thank you, Betty. Next up, we have Mr. Jeff Pan from Chinese news headlines. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Jeff Kai, and from the Chinese news headline, 叫华人头条, and we are very glad with app base and the video, and we have the 15 million app download from the different global. And thank you very much. Okay, happy Chinese New Year. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. And I also see your colleague David Shenling here as well. David, you want to say a quick hello? You're muted.
谢谢董议员啊，我跟彭会长是一块儿杰夫彭祝贺大家新年快乐，万事如意，虎年这个虎虎生威啊，谢谢大家。
谢谢你David， 我们看到那个轻松加拿大的应该是前辈吧，林风云，James, are you still here? James Ling. Oh, okay, so he's probably off now. Next up, I have Rich Lau from Fairchild TV.
Oh, hi, Han. Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here. I'm from the Toronto office from Fairchild, and I just wish everybody literally good health. And hopefully this year of the Tiger, we can get back to normal, and then looking forward to physical events organized by the Liberal Party.
Excellent. I see you have your headset on, so you're probably ready to ask some questions, but we'll save that for the next segment.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Emily Lau. Yeah, Emily is a good friend of many of us. Go ahead, Emily.
Oh, hi, Han. Thanks for inviting me here. I'm glad to be here. I've been in media for a couple of decades, so I'm running my own channels right now. And I'm also affiliated with a few different medias and helping some associations. Wishing everyone 福星高照, 步步高升. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. I also see my friend Patrick Han from Singflex here as well. Go ahead, Patrick.
Thank you, Han. Thank you so much. I wish everyone a happy New Year, Lunar New Year, and I represent the Simple Media here. And thank you for having me. Thank you.
Okay, and Ko Hui, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Han Dong. Thank you, everyone. I'm Kevin Ko from City Porsche, North American. I want to say Happy New Year for everybody.
Great,
That's
thank
all.
you. Thank you, Ko Hui. And last but not least, we have Hotspot News segment of Singtao. Maggie, go ahead, Maggie.
Thank you, MP Han Dong, to organize this event to reach out all our Chinese media friends and community, and glad to say Happy New Year to all of you. And really, really thank you for all the great effort and the leadership, all the MP across Canada, and also the Minister Mary Ann and I am Maggie. So I just hope that we can stay firm. Our community partnership will be even stronger in the year ahead. And I wish everyone success, joy, and health, and take care. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I've covered everybody. I want to leave enough time for some questions and answer from the media friends. If you have any question, please raise hand, and the background tech person and will recognize you, and we'll get you to ask any question. Any question at all to our Liberal caucus? Go ahead, Todd.
I have a question for Minister In regarding, Canada just started the conversation with Taiwan regarding the free trade agreement. So any progress you can share with us?
Todd, thank you very much for that important question. I have a really terrific mandate today as the Small Business Minister, the International Trade Minister, and the Economic Development Minister. And what I have as part of my mandate is to continue to increase access to markets around the world. We often talk about Canada being enviable because we're the only G7 country with a free trade agreement with every other G7 country. we have access to about 60% or over 60% of the world's economy in very important economic zones. So, of course, in Asia Pacific through the CPTPP, but also in Europe through CETA, and here in North America through the new NAFTA. And what we're doing is we are also increasing our footprint and our presence greater in the Indo-Pacific region. I announced at the end of 2021 new negotiation that will commence with Indonesia. I'm also going to be entering into trade dialogue and discussions, negotiations with the 10 countries that make up the ASEAN nations. So, and of course, with Taiwan, I was very pleased to have a meeting with my ministerial counterpart to begin discussions on a foreign investment and protection arrangement. So this is very much an effort for Canada to continue to pursue opportunities in the global marketplace. Because what does that really mean? It means customers. I mean, right now we have access to 1.5 billion customers through our existing trade agreements. We want to do more of that. And being both the small business minister, but also the international trade minister, it really is about helping our businesses start up in Canada, to scale up, and in that scaling up to grow into international markets. So a greater presence in the Indo-Pacific is what is in my mandate letter. And I'm very much looking forward to doing this work with Canadian companies and exporters so that we can help them grow. And when they grow, they create jobs. And when they create jobs and prosperity, it benefits all of our communities across the country.
Thank you, Mary. I see a few hands up, so I'm going to allow 2 minutes for the back and forth. So every time I raise the tiger, you know it's time to wrap up either your question or your answer. So next up, Susan from 105.9.
Hi, thank you all, MPs, and I'm not sure this question is for you, Han Dong, please, or for everybody, for anybody else. So I know that for truckers right now, their protest is increasing in sizes and appearance across the country. How do we see the end of this?
So any colleague want to take on this?
I can answer.
Mary, go ahead. I'm going to turn to Rob Oliphant because I see Rob is getting bored over there. Go ahead, Rob.
Here you go, Rob.
I'm going to defer to Mary first, and I may add something, but let's hear from Mary.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a really important question. I mean, over the last couple of years, it's been tremendously difficult for Canadians and certainly for businesses. And let me start by thanking the truckers, Canadian truckers who have done incredible work throughout this pandemic, keeping groceries on our shelves and making sure that critical supplies, medical supplies, flow back and forth among our borders and throughout the country. So to them, a huge debt of gratitude. What we have said right from the beginning is that we are going to be there to support Canadians throughout this. And we know that vaccinations do work. The issue that we are all fighting with here is COVID-19, and we all want to see an end to COVID-19. And vaccinations are certainly a way to doing that. We know that today Canadian truckers are about 90%, if not just a little over 90% vaccinated. So what I would say to Canadians is keep doing. Many have done their part, and others, keep getting vaccinated, keep getting boosted in an effort to finish the fight against COVID-19. And certainly for those Canadian truckers who have contributed so enormously to our economy and to getting supplies throughout the country and across borders, an enormous thank you.
That's great.
Thank you. My follow-up, can I have a follow-up question? Very simple.
Yeah, very quickly.
Okay, so I think there are certain level of misinformation, and how are we going to be able to promote the science rather than misinformation or ideology?
Well, I'm gonna take on this. Just add to what Mary has to say that if you have not seen the statement by my good colleague Greg Fergus yesterday, I strongly encourage you to YouTube it. He made a member statement yesterday with regard to different views and a right to protest, and I think it was a very strong one. We definitely respect individuals' rights to express their opinion, but at the same time, I think a much greater part of a Canadian population understands that we are a nation of inclusiveness. There's no room for extreme views like what we saw in the past week, when they raised the Confederate flags and whatnot, and there is no place for that. And I know that this weekend I've received some information that Toronto will see some of the protests and convoy, and they're moving to Toronto. And I think we stand strong and in solidarity. All my Liberal colleagues will condemn any voice that will point to extremism and racism, and that which has been affecting the Asian community in the last couple of years. So I know it's not a direct answer to your question, but I want to tell you that the government actually ran on finish the fight against COVID, and that's exactly what we're focusing to do. And we know vaccination is the best way to get there, and we will stand strong behind our, not just the message, but our investments in vaccination and procurement and so on and so forth. So anybody want to add to this? No? Okay, so we'll move to Emily Lau for the next question, and then Rich Lau after, and then Flora Shen.
Sorry, I have to say, my last name is Law, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Okay, thanks for taking the questions. I'm so glad to hear that you acknowledge the importance of media, and we really like a lot of interaction, but just like any businesses, we have our costs. And if we don't have a storefront or an office, even though if we're like SMEs, we're not qualified for any kind of funding or assistance. So I'm just asking to see, actually I asked that at the Ontario Liberal meeting the other day, what kind of support can you provide for those who are in media and for those who are self-employed, especially during this COVID that really hits hard on our income and stuff.
Okay. I don't see any of my colleagues wants to take this on. Well, just very quickly from me, I know during the COVID, the Ministry of Heritage has announced a couple of funding streams, and one of them is the emergency support during COVID for independent and small media outlets. And there is ongoing funding to support multicultural or ethnic press from the Ministry of Heritage. So I'm sure staff can connect with you to these programs, so the funding cycle and when to apply and so on and so forth. All these details, we'll give that information to you, Emily.
How about like self-employed who don't have like an office? Right? Yeah, they're still like SMEs, right?
Right. So SMEs, Mary, you want to take on? Okay, go ahead.
So Emily, thank you for this. And again, Sunny Philo, nice to see you. Throughout the pandemic, we have provided a range of supports for people and for businesses, of course. And the kinds of support, I've talked to you and others about, of course, deal with those very important expenses like the rent, and getting operational costs paid or sort of, or substantially supported by the government through small business loans, or in fact, for those who have employees, because it was so important for us to make sure that businesses stay connected to the people to whom they employ, so through the wage subsidy. But for individual self-employed entrepreneurs, if you will, there was some assistance there as well that we provided, you know, at the front end of the pandemic, and then through programs like the Regional Relief Fund. But largely, I would say that you know, what we've been very, very sensitive to is to be sure that that our businesses indeed do get supported throughout this pandemic, so that we can actually get to the other side of the pandemic. I mean, I guess what I can say is, you know, the work that we continue to do has seen, you know, jobs recovered 108% from before the pandemic. I think that is good because we were really concerned about not scarring the economy, which is why the government of Canada, I mean, 8 out of $10 of support comes from the government of Canada, essentially to support both people, but also, you know, also businesses throughout this. And there's work that we'll just have to continue to do.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you, Mary. I just want, Mary has to leave sharp at 4:30 for another meeting. Any member of media has a question directly to Mary you want to ask? Just unmute yourself and ask. Okay, Todd, go ahead.
Just one follow-up question regarding, you know, last week I interviewed the Chinese Consul General in Vancouver, and she really want to send the message to the Canadian government like this. She think maybe it's better to resume the conversation between the two ministers, like the Canada minister and China's trade minister. So I just want to have a response from Mary. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Todd. I mean, as you know, the work that I have been doing has certainly been all around, you know, sort of all around the globe in an effort to continue to open up markets for Canadians and for Canadian exporters. I might answer a little bit and then throw it to my very good colleague, Rob Oliphant, who is the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. But I might sort of respond to it this way. You know, Canada's pursuit of trade opportunities is very, very much guided by the values that are really important to Canadians. And on this front, what I've said consistently to Canadian businesses and exporters is that they can absolutely count on the government of Canada in our support for them where they operate, and that includes in many places around the globe, including in China. That work will always continue for our government in support of our Canadian exporters. Maybe Rob, could I trouble you to also respond here?
Yeah, thanks, Minister. Thanks, Mary, and thank you, Todd, and to all your colleagues who are on the call for all the work you do in media. It's, you earlier talked about disinformation. I think Susan brought that up, and it's very important in your work that you keep doing that. With respect to Canada's relationship with China, it is no secret that it has been a strained relationship over the last 2 years or so. It has been strained, it has been difficult. We believe that the incarceration of Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig were arbitrary and inappropriate, and that saga has come to an end. And I will tell you personally, my shoulders dropped and I breathed more easily when they landed on Canadian soil. And I breathed more easily because they were safe and their families could be restored with them. And so we were happy for that. But I was also glad that we can take these steps now to find a way to have a better relationship with China. And Canada's goals, as Mary said, we will always stand up for the values of Canada and the values that Canadians have expressed in terms of human rights, in terms of self-determination, in terms of minority rights. We will do that. And that's why, that's what Canada is built on. But we also want to have friends in the world. We don't want enemies in the world. And so I am hoping that over this next little while, that relationship will be restored in a way that we're able to hold up our values, which you're asking us to do, but also that can further Canada's interests. And those interests are business, their investment, their trade, their people-to-people relationships, their cultural relationships, and they're just making sure our world is a better place for everybody. That is Canada's goal. So I'm glad that that chapter is behind us. We're not quite at the next chapter yet, but we're on the way. And that is an important reaching out, and we'll continue to find ways to reach out to find the new chapter, which hasn't quite yet begun, but I hope will.
Thank you very much, Rob.
Thank you, Robert.
Rob is someone I actually go to for advice from time to time, and you know, and feel free to reach out to them after today's event if you have specific questions.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Han, you're muted.
You're muted.
I don't know why. Rich from Fairchild, go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Han. First of all, I want to thank my wonderful colleague from media. They asked wonderful, important questions. I'm going to go on a lighter note because right now, you know, the Olympics is going on, and there are more than 400 Canadians, Olympians participating and competing for medals. So I want to ask if the government is having any supports for them, and can you say something to you know, support our representatives in Beijing right now?
Absolutely. Early on, Prime Minister has sent out a statement. We know that there are hundreds of Canadian athletes competing in 15 different competitions. And the pandemic has been very difficult for these athletes in terms of training, keep up the high level of performance over the pandemic. The government has stated numerous times that we are fully behind our athletes in support of not just the Olympic athletes, but Paralympic athletes as well. You know, as parliamentarians, we're fully in support of our athletes, and we'll be cheering on Team Canada. Any addition from my caucus colleagues on this topic? Okay.
Thanks, Anna. That's great.
Go Canada, go.
Yeah, go Canada, go.
Go Canada, go.
It's time for Wilson to show off your jersey again. There you go. And next up, Flora. Sorry, Flora, for the wait. Still there?
No problem. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. My name is Flora Shan from North America Headlines. 加拿大和美国必读. Thank you so much for inviting me to this event. And my question is, it's been like 6 months since last election. And during that time, what are the most concerned issues that you've heard from the Chinese community in your writings? And do you have any plans, or what would you do to address them in the coming year? Thank you.
I'm going to turn the mic to my colleague, Jean, because I feel like I've kind of occupied the mic too much. Jean and Sean, if they're here. Jean, go ahead. And Wilson.
Sure. Some of the things that I've heard in my writing have been the concern of the pandemic, rapid tests, the rising prices of groceries, and just when will this pandemic end? I think we all want it to end. And because my writing has so many small businesses, there's also, you know, concern of how will they continue on? And especially now that we just started opening up. I was in a restaurant today, actually, in the writing. And the restaurant owner said to me, a lot of people don't know that restaurants are open. And so I think if the media can spread out the word
that people can safely dine if they have the vaccine passport with the QR code. They must have the QR code in order to access restaurants, because it's to prevent fraudulent documents. They also mentioned that they've had to turn away some diners. So I think we really do need to support our local businesses. And one of the ways our government has supported local business was the extension of the SIBA loan, the repayment.
Thanks, Jean. And I'll turn to Sean and Wilson and Paul. Paul's still here on this question.
Sean, maybe I can suggest we have some more media folks with other questions, and then maybe I could take the next one. And because I think Jean has said a great example of some of the issues.
Okay, great. Wilson, you want to answer this question?
Sure, I'd like to add a few more points. I guess as a newly elected member, as a newly elected member on the West Coast, we understand there's a lot of concerns from my riding's constituents, mostly surrounding the affordable housing issue, pandemic, how we can get through this together. And at the same time, as a reminder to every Canadian is to be working together and be united so that we can all get through this pandemic together. Last night, I actually had my third booster shot, and I encourage everyone in across Canada, whenever they're eligible, they should go get that third shot. So as soon as we can get through this pandemic, most of the concerns and issue will be resolved, as well as with the government supporting all the support and programs that we have been in place. This will allow us to really be more united and work together towards a better future for all of us. Thank you. Great.
Thank you.
And in addition, immigration is always a concern, not just not exclusive for the Chinese community, but in my community, that's sort of the #1 issue. So I'm very happy to hear the minister recently announced additional $85 million to hire more staff and establish timelines, quicker timelines to process. So I'm very happy to hear that news. Next up, Ko Hui, and then we go to Canadian Voice.
Okay, thank you, Handa. Actually, I have a question for the MP Jian. You know what? I want to ask a question about the senior house. You know that before when the pandemic just started, we know some news from senior house. Like I heard one senior house got trouble, and Victoria Park and somewhere. Sorry, but right now, we don't have any info. You know, we know the senior house right now terrible, but we don't know the detail. So I try to ask the MP Jian, you are Scarborough MP. So I try to ask you, how are seniors doing during pandemic, and what support have they received? Thank you, Jian.
Thank you for your question, and so nice to see you virtually.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. Our government has provided a lot of support, especially during this pandemic. Starting off in April, you'll recall that the pandemic started in March. We gave a $1.3 billion one-time GST credit. And then in July, we gave a $500 COVID payment, let's say, to all seniors. And that added up to $2.5 billion. And then just in last August, we provided a one-time payment to older seniors, 75 and up, $500. And and also through community organizations, we have given funds to local organizations such as the United Way, and in my riding, the Agincourt Community Service Association, funding to help seniors with groceries, with the purchasing of rapid tests for them to be able to distribute to seniors. and also the ability to drive them to different appointments that they may need to go to. And I also want to address the CERB clawback for those seniors that were on GIS and they had their there was the issue with the clawback. Well, I would just like to reassure the seniors that they will be repaid and the money will be directly deposited in their accounts.
Thank you, Jean. And next we have Linda from Canadian Voice, and then Betty Gu, and then Guan Guo. Go ahead, Linda.
Thank you for inviting me. My question for affordable housing for Winston Mill and the MP from the Richmond. And right now, the affordable housing is a big problem. Even the Richmond, the rent fee is keep going up. I just want to know how the government balance the renting and the landlord. And on the other hand, the landlord is very suffered to face on the property keep going up and the BC hydro fee is keep going up. So I just want to know the question. And I still remember before election, the federal Liberal Party still will charge the more tax on the overseas buy. So any update the policy? Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Linda, for your question. And of course, we all know that affordable housing is...
office, how can I help you?
Affordable housing is definitely a very crucial thing, not just happening in the West Coast, but all across Canada. And really, everyone deserves a safe place to call home and affordable place to call home. And since the pandemic, we saw those most vulnerable in our community fall in greater housing need, and that's why we have to act quickly. So from the start of this parliament, we have imposed many different programs and also created the Rapid Housing Initiative. I believe it's about a 2.5 billion program that will create more safe, sustainable home for people experiencing homelessness. And in just over a year, this program now has been created 10,000 units from coast to coast to coast across Canada, including helping women and children from domestic violence, racialized Canadian, Indigenous people, and many more. So it's very important for us as a federal government to work with all three levels of government, our provincial and municipal, together to create a more affordable option down the road.
Great. Sean, do you want to add something to it, or
there's questions?
I can take the next question, Han. Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's great. And next up, Betty Gu and Guan Guo, and that's it for today's question. Last two questions. Betty, go ahead.
Okay. My question is during the COVID-19, the economy is sluggish. So, but housing price is increased too much. So that is making to buy a house is very difficult, and especially for the younger generation. So how to control it? Do you want to control it? Or how to control it?
Housing price, Sean.
Thank you. Oh, I am unmuted.
Yeah,
thank you. Well, first of all, I thank you for that question. It is it's very important because we know that in markets like Toronto and Vancouver and other parts of the country, we see housing prices extremely high, and that has caused a major concern for younger families, for people wishing to enter the market into for the first time. And we all know the most important asset that one can have is housing, and for some that asset is completely out of reach. Our government has been incredibly understanding of this issue, and we know that Canadians deserve a place to call home, and especially one that is safe and affordable. Our government has reacted quite swiftly during the pandemic. We have made significant investments, and that included the Rapid Housing Initiative, for example. And you see cities like Toronto, where the mayor has repeatedly said thank you to the federal government for this incredible investment. It has made a significant difference for people who need a home. We have added on to that. Most recently, our Prime Minister has announced 10,000 more affordable units, and that is through the Rapid Housing Initiative. So that will make an incredible positive difference for those who need housing. We have also made investments to help first-time homebuyers, and that includes effectively reducing the mortgage costs with first-time homebuyers to help them pay for their first home. And there's been investments across the board, including for Indigenous communities, where we know housing is a huge problem, and especially its impact on women and children who need housing. There's a lot more to be done. Of course, housing is a market, and there are parts of the market that cannot be controlled. However, it's important that we as a government continue to invest by creating more units and making sure that there are options for those who need housing.
Great, thanks, John. Betty, I just want to add a couple of points on this. When we look at the federal government policy, you actually have to see the history of it. So since 2015, the Liberals took government, we have directly helped over 1 million Canadian families to secure a place called home, whether it's through supporting municipalities to retrofit their additional their current asset, or through the Rapid Housing Initiatives invest in building more units. We have helped over 1 million Canadians to secure a place. In the platform, I personally support this part of the platform because I think housing is an issue that involves policy change rather than some of my opposition members suggest just throw money at it. Okay, so we have policies like banning the foreign investment for a couple of years, policy establishing a right of bill for first-time homeowners, banning the blind bidding, as well as very creative ideas about rent to own, all kinds of programs. And these are regulatory changes. These are policy changes. These are smart, using as a smart way to use taxpayer dollars. So yes, they have not been introduced yet, but we are fully committed to introduce it as quickly as we can. So please pay attention to the upcoming budget, and all the legislation will be proposed in the House of Commons. Great. Next and last question, we'll go to Grant Guo. Guo 台长, 你好.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I'm having another meeting as well. So I hope my question is not overlap with other people. That's why I want to ask the question specifically to Mr. Pao Chang. Since the pandemic, the cases of anti-Asian, especially anti-Chinese, are increasing. So as a former police officer living in an area with a big portion of Chinese population, so what the government can do and should do to crack down this kind of racist phenomenon? Thank you.
Thank you, Grant, and Happy New Year to you. Thank you for your question. That's a good question you're asking me. Let me be clear. As a government, we are vehemently condemning the racism, the hate, and the violence against Asian communities in Canada that are facing because of the pandemic, right? So the federal government has this Federal Anti-Racism Secretariat, which is engaging with diverse Asian communities in Canada to identify and develop areas for action. So action to date includes implementing an official definition of anti-Asian racism, co-created with Asian Canadian communities and integrated into Canadian anti-racism strategy. We will continue to support communities, organizations actively combating anti-Asian hate crime in Canada. And locally in my riding, we had a few hate crime committed against Asians, and I was able to help the victims of those in regards to connecting them to the police and connecting them with safety training and safety protocols so that they can keep themselves safe living in the community. So that's very important. So I hope that is what you're looking for, Grant, and I'm always available to speak with you whenever you need me. Thank you so much, Grant.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Grant. And we're coming to the end of today's event. And I just want to say that I enjoyed it very much. I think we should do this regularly. Now we have 6 Chinese Canadian MP in the caucus, a historic number. And I think it's a great opportunity for us to deepen the connection with our Chinese community through our friends with the Chinese media. So I hope our next gathering is going to be in person, and maybe in Ottawa, maybe in Toronto, maybe in Vancouver. Now we have Wilson there, but I really hope that as the restrictions are being lifted, slowly we can meet in person. I want to turn to my colleagues. Do you have any last word to say before we wrap up today's event? Silence is powerful. Oh, no, Wilson, go ahead.
Well, I'd just like to thank everyone being here today. It's really an honor to, meet virtually, especially with the pandemic that's happening. And I really wish everyone good health and success in the Year of the Tiger. And hope everyone will have a safe celebration with your families and loved ones. Thank you.
Good stuff.
Oh, I will just add to that. I'm so happy to have our newest MPs, Paul and Wilson and Leah Taylor-Roy, Lena, and if I've missed anybody else that's new, it's just thrilling to have some new voices here in our group. And I also want to thank you for all your coverage, your public health coverage during this pandemic. And as we move forward, we also have our budget coming up. So I encourage you all to check out our Budget Talk 2022. That's like a hashtag, but definitely encourage all your readers to send in their budget priorities, what they think the federal government should be focusing on. Thank you.
I will end by saying that I just want to express my gratitude and thanks to all the members of the media who have joined us today. You have an incredible job, and that job is to provide people with information. In this world of fast news and misinformation and disinformation, your responsibility is tremendous. I thank you for engaging with us, and I look forward to continuing to see the work that you do in the coming weeks and months. We are currently immersed in lots of discussions on vaccine mandates, and there is rightfully a lot of frustration out in the communities because people are tired and people are suffering from the extended lockdowns, the ever-changing circumstances of this pandemic. But I'm very hopeful that we can make it through together, and I'm grateful for the work that you do, and great to see so many colleagues, and particularly Paul and Wilson, our newest members of the Chinese caucus. And thank you once again, everyone. Great job hosting this, Han. Thank you.
That's your last word, and that's a wrap. We will be sending out news releases, and you have a list of all the MPs and ministers participating in today's event. And I hope to see you all soon in person. Take care, my friends. 恭喜發財啊！新春愉快。
恭喜發財，恭喜發財，拜拜。